And I hope you can make it through what's coming without catching Macon's usual disease. How reasonable people can go stark raving mad anytime anything involving a Negro comes up is something I don't pretend to understand.
This Tom Robinson case must be pretty important.
It goes to the essence of a man's conscience.
Suppose you're wrong about it.
How's that?
Well, most people think that they're right and you're wrong.
And they're entitled to think that, and they're entitled to full respect for their opinions. But Sky, before I can live with other folks, I've got to live with myself.
What does that mean?
There's one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule, Scout. A person's conscience.
You take it, Mr. Finch. You do it.
We thought the sheriff must have lost his mind.
Don't waste time, Heck. Go on.
Mr. Finch, this is a one-shot job.
Don't just stand there, Heck.
For Christ's sakes, look at where he is, Mr. Finch. I can't shoot that well, and you know it.
I haven't shot a gun in 30 years.
Well, I feel mighty comfortable if you did now.
I thought we're in a fog. Watching our father standing there in the street with a rifle. Others were watching too, but we didn't know it then. It didn't make any sense at all. It was utterly beyond belief.
Oh, Jesus, please help him.
Got it! Got it!
Just a little to the right. If I had my druthers, I'd take a shotgun.
There's the door now. Just a little to the right.
Always was.
Well, I'll let somebody come down and pick him up and
Stay there.
You haven't forgot much, Mr. Finch. They said next week.
Agnes?
Yes, son.
No, I saw that one-shot, Finch.
Jim, you and your sister stay away from that dog. He's just as dangerous dead as he is alive.
Yes, sir. Atticus?
Yes, son.
What's the matter, boy? Can't you talk? Didn't you know your dad's the best shot?
Oh, hush, Heck. Let's get back to town.
I want you to hurry now. You gotta get back to working up those speeches for the trial.
Don't remind me.
Any questions, Atticus?
Yes. Did you call a doctor, Sheriff?
No, sir.
Why not?
Wasn't necessary, Mr. Finch. But she was mighty banged up.
You didn't call
He's
a
answered the question, Atticus.
Just wanted to make sure, Judge. Sheriff, you said she was mighty beat up. In what way? Just describe her injuries, Heck.
Well, she had bruises starting and a black eye coming up.
Which eye?
It was her left eye.
Now, was that her left eye facing you, or her left eye looking the same way you were?
That would make it her right. Now, I remember now, Mr. Finch, it was her right eye. That's the side she was beat up on.
Sheriff, would you repeat what you just said?
Her right eye?
No, you said that she was beat up on that side of her face. Which side?
The right side.
Thank you, Sheriff. That's all. Just a moment, sir. Mind if I ask you a question or two?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Yule. My folks were doing a lot of running that night. You said that you ran to the house, then you ran to the window, you ran inside, and then you ran for Heck Tate. Did you, during all this running, think to run for a doctor?
Wasn't no need to.
Well, didn't you think the nature of your daughter's injuries warranted immediate medical attention?
Never called for a doctor in my life. Besides, it cost me $5. Is that all the question?
Not quite. Mr. Yule, you heard the sheriff's testimony, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you agree with his description of Mayola's injuries? Her right eye was blackened, she was beaten
I
around.
holds with everything Tate said.
He said that her right eye was blackened.
I holds with Tate.
All right. Miss Mayola, is this the man who attacked you?
It certainly is.
How?
I don't know how he did. I told you it all happened so fast.
Let's consider this call.
Objection! He's broken his witness! Sit down, Horace.
Miss Mayola, you have testified that the defendant grabbed you and choked you and took advantage of you. You didn't say that he sneaked up behind you and knocked you cold. Now, is there any part of your testimony you wish to reconsider?
You want me to say something that didn't happen?
No, ma'am. I want you to say something that did happen.
Well, I already told you.
He hit you. He blackened your left eye with his right fist.
I ducked and it glanced off.
Miss Mayola, you're a strong girl. Why didn't you run?
Well, I tried to.
And you were screaming the entire time?
I certainly was.
Well, why didn't the other children hear you? Where were they? Why didn't your screams make them come running? Or didn't you scream until you saw your father in the window? You didn't scream until then, did you? Did you scream at your father instead of Tom Robinson? Is that it? Miss Mayella, was it Tom Robinson or was it your father? What did your father really see in that window, Miss Mayella? Why don't you tell the truth, child? Didn't Bob Yule beat you up?
I got something to say.
Gentlemen, this case is not a difficult one. It requires no minute sifting of complicated facts. This case is as simple as black and white. The state has not produced one iota of medical evidence that the crime Tom Robinson is charged with ever took place. It has relied instead on the testimony of two witnesses. Witnesses whose testimony has not only been called into serious question on cross-examination, but has been flatly contradicted by the defendant. Now, I have nothing but pity in my heart for the chief witness for the state. But my pity does not extend to her putting a man's life at stake, which is what she has done in an effort to remove her own guilt. Now, I say guilt, gentlemen, because it was guilt that motivated her. She's committed a crime. She has merely broken a rigid and time-honored code of our society. A code so severe that anyone who breaks it is hounded from our midst as if unfit to live with. She is the victim of cruel poverty and ignorance. But she knew full well the enormity of her offense, and yet she persisted in it. She persisted, and her subsequent reaction is something that every child has done. She tried to put the evidence of her offense away, out of sight. But what was the evidence of her offense? Not some stolen toy to be hidden. No, the evidence of her offense that must be destroyed is Tom Robinson, a human being. She must put Tom Robinson away from her. Tom Robinson was for her a daily reminder of what she did. Now, what did she do? She tempted a Negro. She did something which in our society is unspeakable. She is white. She tempted a Negro. Not some old uncle, but a strong, young Negro man. No code mattered to her before she broke it, but it came crashing down on her afterwards. Her father saw what happened, and what did he do? There is circumstantial evidence that indicates that Mayella Yule was beaten savagely by someone who led almost exclusively with his left hand.
Send you to
And then Bob Yule swore out a warrant, no doubt signing it with his left hand, and Tom Robinson sits before you now, having taken the oath with the only good hand he possesses, his right.
You freaking liar! Shut your mouth, sir, or you will be fined for contempt.
So, a quiet, humble, respectable Negro who has had the unmitigated temerity to feel sorry for a white woman is on trial for his life. He has had to put his word against his two white accusers. And I need not remind you of their conduct here in this court. Their cynical confidence that you, gentlemen, would go along with their assumption, the evil assumption, that all Negroes lie, that all Negroes are basically immoral beings, an assumption that one associates with minds of their caliber. But you know the truth. And the truth is, some Negroes lie. Some Negro men are not to be trusted around women, black or white. And so with some white men. This is a truth that applies to the entire human race and to no particular race. In this year of grace, 1935, we are hearing more and more references to Thomas Jefferson's phrase that all men are created equal. Yet we know that all men are not created equal in the sense that some men are smarter than others, some have more opportunity because they're born with it, Some men make more money. Some ladies make better cakes. And some people are born gifted beyond the normal scope. But there is one way in which all men are created equal. There is one human institution that makes the pauper the equal of the Rockefeller, that makes the stupid man the equal of the Einstein. This institution, gentlemen, is a court of law. In our courts, all men are created equal. Now, I'm no idealist to believe so firmly in the integrity of our courts and of our jury system. That is no ideal to me. That is a living, working reality. But our courts are only as sound as our juries. And our juries are only as sound as the men who make them up. Now, I am confident that you, gentlemen, will review without passion the evidence that you have heard, that you will come to a decision, that you will restore this defendant to his family. In the name of God, do your duty.
I'm appalled, sir.
No, I don't.
Find out.
You're appalled.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's pretty strong language, Matthew. I mean, maybe you better cool off before you work yourself into a lather. You're appalled. Santiago's written letters to everyone but Santa Claus complaining about his treatment. He's broken the chain of command, threatened to rat out a member of his own unit, his own squad, to say nothing of the fact that he's a U.S. Marine. And it would appear that he can't run from here to there without collapsing from heat exhaustion. Just what the hell is going on over at Windward, Matthew?
Colonel, I think this is a conversation we better have in private.
That won't be necessary, Colonel. I can handle the situation.
The way you handle Curtis Barnes, you're making a
My
mistake.
methods of
Don't
leadership are
interrupt me.
coming.
I'm still your superior officer.
And I'm yours, Matthew. Now, what are we going to do about this?
To Lieutenant Junior Grade Daniel A. Caffey, United States Naval Reserve, Judge Advocate General's Corps. Lieutenant Caffey, I know the following to be true. Colonel Jessup had no intention of transferring Private Santiago off the base. The transfer order you secured was written the morning of your arrival, 6 days after Private Santiago's death. Jessup's claim that the 0600 was the first available transportation off the base is a lie. There was a flight that left for Andrews Air Force Base 7 hours earlier. I have enclosed copies of the Tower Chief logs. You'll notice that while Jessup has removed the departure entry from the Guantanamo log, the arrival entry is still in the Andrews log. Lieutenant, please do not waste valuable time and resources trying to find me. Save these men. Captain Matthew Andrew Markinson, United States Marine Corps. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Santiago, I was William's company commander. I knew your son vaguely, which is to say, I knew his name. In a matter of time, the trial of the 2 men charged in your son's death will be concluded. And 7 men and 2 women whom you've never met will try to offer you an explanation as to why William is dead. Most likely, they'll offer you many explanations. For my part, I've done what I can to bring the truth to light. I've done this not in the uniform in which I've served for the past 21 years, but in costumes, in shadows. I was a defender. And at this moment, I'm being pursued by the Naval Investigative Service, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Central Intelligence Agency, and the military police. And I can't possibly do this anymore. For the truth is this: your son is dead for only one reason. I wasn't strong enough to stop it. Always, Captain Matthew Andrew Markinson, United States Marine Corps.